Hey guys, we're outside at night because we are testing the ZV1 in terms of its low light capabilities. So anyway, expect the blacks to be a little bit blocky because my last video that I did with this one. Hey guys, this is a quick test of the Sony ZV1 for shooting out at night. Now as we can see, the street is particularly well lit over here, and it's giving us pretty decent colour. Now, one of the things I like is these white street lights. They make it really good to shoot near my house. But if we move over into the yellow cast doesn't actually look that great in terms of how Sony picks it up. It is kind of like this yellow, but it's a lot duller. So Sony's picking up a lot more information than my eyes can, which is quite interesting because it translates quite well onto the camera. In terms of like fuzziness of image, the ISO has set itself at 12,800, which is the maximum. So I'll be interested in seeing what that's like later, and I'll put little video captions on the screen. But in terms of like the ability to shoot at night, I'm currently doing it so that I've got control over my shutter speed, because I do not want the shutter speed to sort of drop below a certain level. I want to keep it sort of like film level shutter speed. So basically, we are not getting an absolutely perfect image. I know that for a fact. This is really pushing the camera to its limits in terms of ISO, and I know that that makes the image fuzzy, but it's still a very good camera to do some night vlogging with, because I'm not exactly in the brightest of areas at the moment, and I'm coming outside of the light as I go from street light to street light, and as you can see, there's a lot less street lights in this area, and yet the image is still pretty decent. Now bear in mind that this camera's around £700. Okay, that's an incredible bit of technology right there, and it's giving the autofocus is really decent. I'm really surprised with the night shooting capabilities of this little camera. I'm very impressed with it, and at the moment I'm not really using any. I've got a microphone which I can use with it as well, which is a radio mic, which is really good, but I'm not utilising that at the moment because I think it's important to actually go out there and test with the gear as it's given to you. So all we've got is the little dead cat on top, which looks like a little mustache, which I find is really good for the sound. So in terms of like darkness, we are doing really well, because a lot of the time we'll have it so that we can even change the shutter speed a little bit. 1 second, just going to increase that a little bit. That's a shutter speed of 1/25 rather than 1/50, and that has given me a whole lot more light. Now a lot of the time there will be people who basically cut down the shutter speed a little bit so that they've got a little bit more light to play with. I find it takes a little bit of the film away from you. So for example, it adds a little bit more blurriness to the image, or can make it feel a little bit more blocky and unnatural, because you're supposed to really have double the shutter speed of your of the frames that your camera's catching. So I'm just going to take that all the way up. Normally it goes down to around 13 frames for night shooting, so that's kind of what you're going to be getting on the Intelligent Auto. Although you're going to have slightly less ISO, so you're going to have less ISO noise. But for a shutter speed of 1/50, which is what this one is, that is really impressive, and I'm very happy with it. In terms of like the sensor noise, this is a camera that I've got not necessarily for filmmaking. I wouldn't be shooting with this level. I would be using full manual at night, and I'm going to go and try and see what level I can get to. I think around ISO of 2000 is still pretty decent with this camera. Although to be fair, I've actually seen some. I was watching an episode of Midsummer Murders the other night, and they must have been shooting at an ISO that was mental, because there was no light in the scene that they were using, and everything was noisy as all hell. And I don't really think that visual noise is that much of a problem, to be honest. but it seems to be a problem for a large amount of people. Now, under these white lights, the colour information is actually pretty good for the plants, because I cannot see these plants in the richness of colour that the camera's picking up. So the internal sense is really, really good for image, and that's in terms of skin tone as well. God blimey, so much bold. It's like the moon. Okay, I need a life. But the thing is, it's one of those things of I'm very, very much impressed with the camera. I mainly got this because most of the cameras I've got are heavy, annoying to lug around, and I like to go out on walks, and I figured if I'm going to go out walking and keeping fit, I might as well do vlogs. So I might be able to use this as a vlogging camera and maybe talk to people a little bit when I actually go out, because using my phone camera is just not that great. And I thought it would be really cool, because then I can share them on I can share my videos on YouTube and keep people up to date. There are people who do want vlogs from me for some reason, so I thought I might invest in that. And my other cameras are just too heavy. I mean, my PXW X70 is great, but try lugging that around in one hand, it's mental. It's really heavy. My AF101E, don't even get me started. Like the battle bus that is in front of our house at the moment. I'll show you the battle bus. Just let's have a little look at that. Look at the size of that. You can see why I call it the battle bus, right? I mean, look at that quality. Considering the fact that this is a camera that is being used at night, and it's being pushed to its absolute limit, and in the price range that it is, it's really surprisingly good. And I mean, there's several people who say that that there's not enough length with your arms. It's like my arm at the moment is kind of like that, so it's kind of up a bit. If I extend it to like its maximum extension in front of me like that, it's like it doesn't necessarily feel. It feels like it could be a bit wider, right, and you know, take more of me in and everything, but it's not that uncomfortable. And if I'm at a relatively comfortable blogging level like this, it's still pretty decent. And the thing is, it's like the tracking's really, really decent. I know I'm under a bright light at the moment, and I should probably get somewhere a little bit more shady, because the daytime tracking on the camera is really, really good. I'm just going to play that for a few seconds while I get to a little bit of a darker area. But as far as I can see, this is without doubt one of the best purchases that I've made. And I know that you shouldn't really call it too soon on cameras, because I've made some big mistakes with cameras in my time. Because I called the AF101E a pile of crap, and actually it's all right. I actually rate that camera, but we're getting to a little bit of a darker area now, where everything's a little bit more dark. So it's like, in terms of tracking, it's not really that bad, because I can sort of see that it keeps me in focus and it's working with me. And just for contrast, it's quite a dark sort of street area. So yeah, I'm very much impressed with the camera, its capabilities. I think that it's probably one of the better cameras that I've got, and it's so small and lightweight. I mean, this is my second time doing the video. We've been shooting for 9 minutes now. Right, that's 9 minutes of recording that I've got, and my arm isn't tired. I'm not feeling like any real loss of breath or effort. So it's pretty damn decent for night shooting. Now, I don't know whether or not YouTube's going to make the blackness all blocky, which is a problem from one of my earlier videos when there was a little bit less contrast in the image, but that was entirely contrast based. So I don't think that was caused by the camera. Anyway, you have a fantastic night. I'll catch you later, and thanks for joining me.